about to enter a great adventure, an experience of the awe and mystery.
Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography. I'm Jason, that's Bill,
Hi.
that's Tim,
Yo!
and that's Brian.
Beers 3 times a day.
And we're here talking about Aerosmith. This was my pick. And we are at the very end with music from another dimension. If you missed previous videos, check the playlist link down below to see our rankings. And like, subscribe, and all that YouTube yada yada stuff. So, music from another dimension. Who wants to start this one?
I'll jump in there. All right. Thought it was a pretty cool album cover. Love Triple X. I like the title entendre for the Love 3 Times a Day lyric. Thought it had a kind of a cool sound to it. Sounded like Pump era Aerosmith. Oh yeah, sounded like filler with a Get a Grip kind of feel to it. And the oh yeahs in there were pretty boring. Beautiful. Cool Aerosmith style intro. Cool vocals. I enjoyed the halftime feel of the chorus. Thought it was pretty good. Tell Me had kind of an honest sound, an earnest sound to the vocals and lyrics. Great performance, great production. Out Go the Lights. Big chorus, sounded like another throwback to the 80s and 90s style of Aerosmith. Legendary Child. Cool guitars, still more of that 80s flair. What Could Have Been Love. This is where I have the biggest problem so far. Aerosmith knows how to do rock ballads. Now, apparently, they know how not to do rock ballads. This sounds like a terrible country song, and I could not stomach it or finish it. Street Jesus. I love the blues rock sound of it. Very gritty. Kind of had a jam band feel to it. Can't Stop Loving You. My only note for this is there's no reason for this track. It's unnecessary. I could not figure out.
I mean, we got to sell some Pepsi at the halftime show, so there's a
Hashtag
reason.
fuck Marty.
Love Her a Lot. Piss Poor Entendre, play on words there. Did have a cool intro, but overall was a filler song. We All Fall Down. Terrible song altogether. Unnecessary. Didn't need to be put on the album, in my opinion. Freedom Fighter. I thought it had an awesome guitar sound. However, I was very bored with the whoa whoa stuff in the vocals and the overall vocal delivery and recording. Just not good. Phoned in, just wasn't creative. Didn't sound great. Didn't help the song, which is kind of big for me because I feel like a lot of the saving graces in some of the Aerosmith songs that aren't my favorites are generally saved by Steven Tyler's performance, but not the case here. Closer or Closer had a cool timing to it. Thought it had some cool sounds. I couldn't really identify the accompanying instruments in there, but I thought they sounded pretty good, pretty cool. Maybe keyboards or maybe not, but it sounded pretty cool. Something, another cool intro, but the song was very muddy, and I just couldn't really vibe with it. Couldn't really get it. Another Last Goodbye sounded like a last ditch effort for a Dream On Part 3, whereas Part 2 also failed almost as bad as this one. Another Last Goodbye to me, I chalked it up as very boring and again unnecessary. Overall, I am not entirely pleased with the album, although I will say it is much better than 2 albums before, but not an awful lot better.
All right, Tim, what you got for music from another dimension?
Well, this is the longest album they've put out.
Fucking hell.
And yeah, I think it definitely suffers from that. Overall, I thought it was pretty forgettable. Legendary Child was particularly bad. Street Jesus, I actually really liked. Love her a lot. I think Brian like kind of subbed that one up. It started off strong, but by the time you got through it, it was like, yeah, whatever. And then the one I kind of like enjoyed, alluding back to a couple videos ago. If you're gonna let Joe Perry, give me a Freedom Fighter. That song's great. And then I did hear a couple of the bonus tracks. There wasn't too much good stuff there. Like I listened to Up on a Mountain and Oasis in the Night, and they're okay. The one I'm really curious to hear is they cover Shaky Ground by the Temptations, and Eddie Hazel has a songwriting credit on that. So in my preparation for this video and whatnot, this album actually sent me down a Temptations rabbit hole that I'm not mad at. The cover is pretty cool. I like that pulp style. But the rest of it, yeah, just it felt bloated, unnecessary, and I've been saying it for a couple albums now. Like when they want to rock, they pull it off really well. But it's too weighed down with country ballads.
Easy on calling them country ballads.
Wasn't this around the time though
they're
that country was
ballads
making
in
its
the same
big
way that Def
comeback?
Leppard was doing it, or Nickelback's doing it. They're not country bands, but these are Nashville written songs that could just, they're selling to the highest bidder.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, let's go back and forth on this one. What you got for Love XXX?
I just noted that kind of like a weird talkie in the intro, and that the song itself was pretty meh.
It starts out with a Tyler Perry written song, and it's pretty bad. It's got some cool riffs here and there and some fun drum parts, but I wasn't feeling it.
Oh yeah, it happened.
No.
Yeah,
Oh no!
it was not good. No.
I said, it's fine. It's simple. Not a lot going on. The Stones were doing a hell of a lot better at this point in their career by a long shot.
Let's see. So we've got Beautiful next. I'm not sure about the vocals on this one. Not for me.
I was feeling the verses on Beautiful, but the chorus was dumb and boring and zapped all of the energy out of the song that the verses built up. # blame Marty. Decent guitar instrumental sections, but the chorus was so bad.
Well, I'll say this. For Tell Me, I actually kind of like the vocals on that one, polarizing the other way. That was actually an okay song.
This is a Tom written song. He wrote the lyrics and the music. So far, the best song on the album. Good job, Tom. It's not a top song or anything, but it's not too bad. The chorus did feel a little unfinished, though.
Yeah, I could see that. Out Go the Lights. Can't help but thinking about Boom Boom Out Go the Lights, but obviously that's not this song because it's 2012, not 1970 whenever that song came out. I thought it was actually kind of decent. Not as good as Tell Me, but it was okay.
Oh, damn. Sounded like Permanent Vacation era Aerosmith. I didn't mind this one. Had some funky riffs going on. I wasn't a fan of the backing vocals. The song didn't need it, and it was a little too long at almost 7 minutes.
Let's see. Legendary Child. Old Sounds? Not sure about the vocals. Nothing interesting to see here.
Brought back old Jim Valance to help write this one, and that checks out. I didn't mind it. I like the "we didn't give a whoa whoa" part. That sounds like a natural progression from "Get a Grip."
What could
Neither
have...
of you felt it was relying too heavily on the Walk This Way formula?
No, but I'll talk about that song later, a little later.
Okay. Yeah, it does creep up a couple times on this album.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing new. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but
It's only their biggest hit.
yeah. What could have been Love? Creed?
has Russ Irwin as a co-writer from Bat Out of Hell 3 fame. Just a country ballad. Not something I wanted from Aerosmith, but whatever. It was pretty at least.
Creed?
Can you take me higher?
It's the same song. Anyways. Street Jesus. Mumble singing? Really not sure about this one.
I like Street Jesus. It sounded like an Aerosmith song. No thrills or BS, just that one little weird thing they do before the tempo change. And then it's just blues rock. The chorus is probably the weakest part again, though. Ain't too bad. Best song so far.
Let's see. Can't Stop Loving You. It's okay. Not great. It happened.
Hashtag fuck Marty. Why oh why does every aging rock band have a song with Carrie Underwood on it? This one is making me question my ranking spot for this album.
Let's see. Love Her a Lot. Fast paced. Actually decent, potentially. It's a Nickelback song.
Hey, what if we took Walk This Way and combined it with Sweet Emotion and just repeated it over and over again for 3 minutes? That's a single, guys.
Nickelback.
Yeah, I mean, Nickelback has been ripping off Aerosmith for years, so it checks out.
Well, and at this point, Aerosmith's been ripping off Aerosmith for years, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's a good fucking riff. I've heard it's contender for best of the 80s, 70s. Someone said that. I've heard that thrown around.
I've heard that, and then I immediately think of Smoke on the Water and go.
It's in the conversation, so I've been told.
Walk This Way is still a better riff than Smoke on the Water, in my opinion.
I would disagree.
I mean, it's 3 notes.
So is Smoke on the Water.
No, I mean, Smoke on the Water is 3 notes.
Yeah, right, and that's how good it is. I mean, Walk This Way is only, what, 4?
Look, Brian
How
has...
cool would it be if your neighbor started playing Smoke on the Water right now?
That would be so
He
fucking
Bang
good.
on the wall, tell him,
He
hey, man,
couldn't.
hey. Do you know the A chord? How about some smoke?
Brian has given us 3 videos now. Hidden tracks, ballads, best guitar riffs. 3 videos right there we got to do.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
Iron Man's in the 70s.
Iron Man, great riff, but it's not far from Smoke on the Water. Which one was first?
I think Iron Man was first.
Warpig.
Yeah, Paranoid was 70. Smoke on the Water was what, 72? 73?
Save it for the other video. Save it for the other video.
It's
Say,
an
we're
intro.
talking about Aerosmith right here. We're talking about Lover. No, we're not. We're talking about We All Fall Down right now. I thought it was pretty, damn it.
You would.
Damn right.
Diane Warren wrote us our biggest single ever. Let's get her to write another one for us. Drab and boring. It's literally a boring version of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. And that song was boring to begin with.
But it's pretty.
If you'll admit, I can't believe I'm even going to fucking say this. What
Do
could
it.
have been Love is pretty. I'll admit We All Fall Down is pretty. Not
Could have
good,
been
just pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Okay.
Creed can be pretty. It's the same song over and over again, but it can be pretty.
I know, yeah, okay. Fuck, We All Fall Down. What's next? Freedom Fighter?
Freedom Fighter.
What the
Okay, Hair Metal did this in 91, but better.
What the fuck, Joe? I guess musically it was okay, but those lyrics and vocal delivery were awful. Keith Richards is doing better than this 11 years later.
Yeah, I mean, he has kind of become the poor man's Keith Richards at this point. And I think that one also has his good friend and Hollywood vampire bandmate Johnny Depp singing on it.
Oh.
What?
That kind of
That makes it worse.
that kind of that's not
I just need to
It
know
is
that
what it is,
information.
though, right?
Freedom Fighter just lost another point. All right, closer.
Nope. No. Not a fan. Nope.
Is it closer or closer?
Closer. Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
I really don't.
Either way, my notes say, Jesus, how long is this album? 68 minutes. Jesus. Close just kind of drones on. It's not bad, but it's just not good. It just keeps
It's closer
going
to the
and going.
end. It's closer to the relief.
Hey, you want to talk about dragging on? Goddamn, something just drug on for forever. I'm sorry. That song didn't end.
They could have cut some of these Perry songs. This album is so bloated. Something is probably the best Perry song here, but it's not good.
Terribly mixed.
Hey, but then we get another last goodbye.
Closing out on that Desmond Child.
Dream On Part 3.
That's an insult to dream on.
It is. It
Could
literally
be
is.
part 4 at this point, right?
I disagree. Because my notes say, I immediately started singing, I kept the right ones out and let the wrong ones in. That's right. Bring back that Desmond Child gold. This was a good closing track. And now that we know this is the last album, it's a decent closing song for the discography. It never does anything, though. Like almost every song on this album, it just never goes anywhere. There was one part I thought something was going to happen, and then nope.
Were you listening to the same song as the rest of us? Like, it just... The song doesn't end. It's not even classified as pretty. It's boring. Like, it just...
That's what I said!
Yeah, pretty boring.
Hey, Bill, how did that go again? My phone cut out.
Yeah.
Final's got it.
That's what
Yeah,
I
you're
said.
starting
What
to
the
get
fuck are you
quiet
talking
again.
about?
Can you go into the other room where it's louder?
You got it.
To your other mic. That last song should have been called Another Last Meh.
I mean, do you expect anything else at this point?
No.
I don't know what I expect at this point, you know?
Like, I remember when this album came out. I was like, there was a huge gap, and they were promoting this as a return to form, not a covers album, but a return to form. And they literally threw everything at this motherfucker. Everything that ever worked for Aerosmith is on this record, and it's a fucking hot mess. You got Diane Warren back. You got Jim Valance writing shit. You
You
got
got Rick
Desmond Child.
Dufay coming back on a track.
You got Joe Perry, Steven Tyler written songs. You've got Jack Douglas producing. Like, they threw everything. You got the Walk This Way riff like 2 or 3 fucking times. Everything. This album is a hot fucking mess.
Kind of makes the album cover make more sense now, looking at it.
That cover is a mess.
That's a good album cover, though, for them.
It is, but like it's a mess though when you look like this. It's
Well, and
looks
so
like the album
I do need to
sounds.
tell a quick personal story that happens 4 years after this album, but since this is the last album, this is where the story comes in. 4 years later, in 2016, Steven Tyler puts out a solo album that's mostly country rock. And he goes on tour, and I ended up getting a ticket to that show. And I'll admit that hearing Dream On live was pretty awesome. But the country versions of Walk This Way and the songs that were basically written with, it wasn't Jack Valance. It was one of the other guys, though, that was just writing all the big ballads for him. And it was one of the most like ridiculously bad shows I've seen in a long time. Steven Tyler should not be doing country music. He was very much up there looking like your grandma hitting on underage girls the entire time. It was kind of frightening. And so, I never saw Aerosmith live, but I did see Steven Tyler. And at this point in the career, it was pretty laughable.
I missed my chance to see Aerosmith on the Get a Grip tour. They were coming, and I just, Get a Grip was like my height of my Aerosmith love. And
Was
I
that the
begged my
Biloxi show
parents.
with Megadeth opening?
Yep. And
Yeah, I almost went to that one too.
I begged my parents, and they said, no, you're too young. And then they bought tickets, and they went to the fucking Aerosmith show. So, shout out, Mom. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset because Aerosmith or Megadeth was booked for the whole tour, but they only played 3 shows, including that Biloxi show. That was one of the 3. But apparently Dave Mustaine was bad-mouthing Aerosmith from the stage every night, and they got kicked off after 3 shows, which I think is pretty funny.
I would love to hear that.
All right, it's time to rank this record. Last one in the discography. Then we get to the color code. So, it's Bill's
Who's
turn to
picking this
guess.
one?
Bill.
I get the pleasure. Let's see. I'm gonna say Brian is gonna have this one in 15th place, firmly at the end.
No.
So it's gonna be 14th then.
Correct.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say Jason also has this one 14 then.
Correct.
And why don't we just make it a wall here and just say Tim also is gonna have it at 14th at this point.
Well, I hate to break that wall, but I'm looking at a different spot.
15?
No, I'm a little.
Really?
I would listen to this over 9 Lives.
Oh wow.
What?
Not the self-titled though.
No, not the self-titled. Firmly in between those 2. Is that's too high, Jason?
That is too high for me.
Or is Done with Mirrors too low?
Both. But I'd take 9 Lives over this. I don't even like 9 Lives.
I don't know. They're
9
about the
Lives
same
has
for
Pink
me.
on it.
They're
I mean,
about
come
the
on.
same for me.
Well, I'm gonna stick this one in at 14th and just push play to the end because no one should ever push play on that album.
I'll agree.
Yeah, just push stop.
Push eject.
Frisbee.
All right. It's time for the color code. The color code tells all.
Oh.
Every time.
I'm thinking maybe we'll do something different here. Maybe we'll mix it up here. Let's go. We're going to do it backwards here. We're going to start from 15 and work our way forward.
Oh God, I can't think that far ahead.
I can work that way. I can work that way.
And I'm going to say, does anybody have Brown on the board? Okay, so we'll start with Nickelback Brown.
Remember,
Oh,
these
wait,
are the
hold on.
albums that should not exist.
So that means all of these are Nickelback Brown. Should not exist.
Correct.
All right. Does the Brown creep up any further for anybody?
For me, it does.
Okay, we'll start with Bill. Brown.
That's as far as the Brown goes for me.
Okay,
I'll say
Tim.
that.
Brown.
Yeah. Yep.
That's as far as it goes?
That's as far as it goes.
All right, so now we have moved into Avoid. My Avoid starts here. Avoid. Okay. Does
Bold of you
anybody-
to assume we go right from Nickelback to Avoid. I mean, it's true for me, but
Yeah, that's different. You know, that's...
you gotta make sure you put Brian's Avoid for Dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
And Rockin' Hard Place and 9 Lives.
Ho ho! Red Crypt. Anybody go further than that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm going to go all the
maybe-
way up to the first album there.
To the first album? Okay.
I mean, like, the first album is not red.
Oh, shit.
But, Other Dimension and Nine Lives definitely are.
Okay. Bill, does your red
Just-
go any higher?
If you take out Dream On and Kings and Queens, yes, it goes up 2 more.
But they're there. If you take them out, they're gone. They don't exist.
No,
Not
that's
anything.
Nickelback where they don't exist. You should avoid the whole album except for these 2 songs.
So are they red or not?
That's caution.
Yeah, that would be caution.
Fine, I'll go with caution then.
Sometimes the one song can save an album.
Very true.
My reds go to here. Oh no. It's spreading.
You like your dimensions, don't you?
It's going from another dimension.
Honkin' on Bobo is another dimension.
All right, now we're at the yellow. I don't like this. We're going to go back to the old way next time. Fuck this.
What's the old way?
Before you just go on percent of time, start to finish, top to bottom.
Yeah. My yellows are doot, 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 doot. We already know Bill's is yellow, yellow.
Yellow. Yellow.
Why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? Let's start over. Okay.
Research shows
Any further?
likelihood of user error.
Yeah, one more. There we go.
Oh shit. Okay. You really don't like the blues.
No, it's just caution. Like,
Like,
The
hold on. I
self-titled
did
album-
explain to you this is a lot about Steven Tyler's ball sack before you put the album in.
So we should have pink on the board too.
Ooh, new color.
Or a dark tan, a dark brown, I'm guessing.
oh my
yeah.
god. We've already got
they're
4 colors.
They're
That's like-
probably bulbous and dark, and
Oh
bigger
my
than you would
God.
like.
Tim, any more yellows? Who vetted this guy as a guest?
Some bearded drunken asshole.
Is that
I'm just kidding. You've been nothing but sweet.
Tim, any more yellows?
Yes, sir.
Get a grip. Yellow.
Yes.
Really?
Night in the Ruts, of course.
Yes.
Honkin' on Bobo.
Yes.
Permanent
Caution.
Vacation.
Yes.
On a hot summer night, would you offer your throat
Get
to
your
the wolf
wings.
red roses?
I think I'm good on the yellow.
Oh,
Okay.
What's your caution, if you don't mind me asking, Tim, about honking on Bobo? Like, hey, these are blues standards done pretty well. What's the caution there? What's the?
I mean, I've heard better.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Like, yeah, like for Aerosmith, it's pretty good. But in the grand scheme of things, like, I've heard better.
Fair. Okay.
These are my greens. I'll explain my color code here. I think Toys in the Attic and Rocks. Just classic. It's the best classic Aerosmith you can get. Pump is the best Geffen Aerosmith you can get. Night in the Ruts is underrated. Get a grip. Nostalgia right here. And Get Your Wings is good. And then I got a soft spot for Permanent Vacation, the first album, so that's my color code. Tim?
I'm green the rest of the way.
I would hope so. We don't have another color.
And it looks like Brian has.
I am must hear from Get a Grip all the way to Draw the Line.
Were you yellow then for the self-titled?
Oh, I never did your
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah. I'll put caution for self-titled because I honestly don't think self-titled really stands on its own without their later discography.
I mean, even with Dream On.
Even
Dream On's
even
literally the
with
only
it didn't
song I've
even
heard
hit
of.
at the time. It had to be re-released later as a hit, like 3 years later.
That's true, but it does hit every time now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but does it? But does it hit because we've heard it so much, or does it hit because it's that great of a song? Because it sonically.
Well, I mean, let's have that same argument about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, no, I will say that Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm not a huge Queen fan, but my wife is, and we listen to the deep cuts on vinyl all the long lived day,
Sure.
and in the car on Spotify. And she's just a huge fan. She's kind of turned me into a passive fan. And I will say, man, Bohemian Rhapsody, that's a that's a damn good, well written song. There's so many little meanings in the lyrics, the sound, the recording, all the operetics. I think that's a different story. Dream
Is
On,
it though?
however,
Because that's the same argument for Dream On.
Dream On doesn't quite have as many parts. It's not as complex. It's a good song, but it really doesn't make sense as a song, really, because of the way the notes kind of move up with that pedal tone. It's a very simple arrangement with that repeating note. Dun, dun,
Sure. No,
right?
yeah, sure.
And they did a
Um,
good job. They did a great job. But I think that the hit is bigger and better than the song itself. Great song, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong on that, but not that good of a song.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, top songs is next. Stay tuned.
This is where it's going to get good. It's going to get good on Top Songs. Stick around, like, subscribe.
Um,
Um,
my final thoughts on this band. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't as familiar with the discography going into this, so now that I've heard it all, I feel like I have a better appreciation for the band. But I also think they're overrated.
It's fair.
I am very likewise minded with Tim. I thought that I really liked Aerosmith. Color coding tells all. Obviously, I was used to a select Aerosmith, not the majority of their discography.
And they do it well.
Yeah, it's not what I like.
Mine is all nostalgia, and I mean, I still listen to Aerosmith once in a while, but if I do, it's going to be these 3 records or these 4 records the most.
I did add a couple songs throughout the discography to my playlist.
I finally made it through the stuff that after I got off the bandwagon, and it didn't change my opinion really. I mean, Nine Lives, I guess, was a little better than I thought, but
Not by much, though.
And I'll say that, nostalgia plays a big part for me too. And I really put Aerosmith to the side in my late teens and 20s and 30s. In my late 30s, I kind of circled back where my wife and I both realized that we both liked different parts of Aerosmith's discography for the nostalgic reasons. And we kind of started listening to the stuff that we both like, kind of cherry picking and showing each other. And I really enjoyed that a whole lot more. Look, as an adult and looking back on it, I have a lot of respect for their discography and their blues influence. But I mean, nothing changes the fact that they're a follow band. They've from the very beginning. Let's do some Led Zeppelin kind of stuff, or let's do some whatever kind of stuff, and it gets way easier to see in the 90s and 2000s.
the one
I
thing
think that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
The one thing I'll give them credit for, though, is their comeback was pretty amazing. Like how they managed to, from the 80s to the 90s, like when they, from Rock and a Hard
like
Place.
a good 20-year 86 to 2006 where they were pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, no other. I mean,
And that
Green
was
Day's
like a
done it.
rebirth career.
Yeah, like Green Day
And I
kind
will
of followed
say,
that.
I don't know if you guys, I think Tim and Jason are musicians. I'm not sure about Bill. Are you a musician, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I keep it a secret though. Don't tell
Okay,
anyone.
so like,
He plays the glockenspiel like you wouldn't even believe.
He honks on that bobo.
anyway,
'Cause,
so as a musician playing in bands growing up and looking up to my singer songwriter heroes, it was a bit disparaging during my research, a light research for this discography, and kind of being enlightened by Tim and Jason as well. All the additional songwriters, it really takes a lot of the power out of Aerosmith for me.
Yep,
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
well, sure.
I just
And I'm going to
deeply
argue
want
that
to
it
believe
should.
they're sitting down in a room like, I don't want to miss a thing, Joe. Give me a guitar lick. Let me write to this. Let's kind of hash it out, and they end up with this giant arrangement and this hugely produced song, and just really rock it. And then this experience has kind of led me to realize, like, man, they don't they just don't have that
Welcome
magic.
to old drunken discography, where you become jaded and pissed off.
Yeah, I thought Aerosmith walked on water. Now I just realized they're playing with the ragdoll.
Wait till do you like Blink 182?
I do.
Look up the writing credits of their last record.
The last record, like the newest one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
look up the writing
Didn't
credits.
Linda Perry have a song on that thing?
It's pretty nuts.
Forgive my ignorance, but is that kind of like after they all got back together again?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Still, okay.
Yeah.
Mark, Tom, and Travis, their comeback record. You know that song that they're all talking to each other and how they miss each other, and yeah, they didn't write that. Look it
Damn.
up.
No, I don't want
Anyway,
to.
we're gonna wrap this one up though. Stick around. Top songs is next.
Yeah, one thing that's really been lost in the digital age as far as consuming music. I know when I first got into music, one of the things that really drew me to it was reading those credits in the album sleeve, because you had to sit there and look at the tape cover or the CD booklet, or even the gatefold vinyl, whatever format you got. You put the album on and you actually look at the artwork and soak it all in, and maybe read the lyrics, and you look at the thank you lists and all that good
for
stuff.
sure.
Which that's just completely gone with the digital consumption.
And I used to do that a lot, like back in the Nirvana days and the Butch Vig being involved with Aerosmith and stuff. I used to, but as a teenager, I ended up being more attracted to the thank yous, because before I used the internet correctly, if a band would thank other bands that I hadn't heard of, well, I'm going to buy that CD. I'm going to buy that record.
We literally
100%,
just talked
yeah.
about that on another video.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, for real.
All right. Well, this has been Old Drunken Discography and our discussion of the Aerosmith discography and our ranking of it in its entirety. Once again, stay tuned. We have top songs coming up here next. You don't want to miss that. Find out what 5 songs.
Don't want to miss a thing.
Absolutely.
Dream
So
on.
once again, from all of us here at ODD, be safe and make good decisions.
Bill, bringing it.
Look
yeah.
at Bill bringing
Because
it home.
like this episode's like 50 minutes long. We have to end it.
I would die for you, baby. I cry for you, baby.
Do, 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 do.